When people hear that I travel through Africa, and I did so on a bicycle, they react in one of two ways. Either they pause, look me in the eye and say, "Are you mad?" before walking off, shaking their heads. Or they bombard me with questions about the unknown. Where did you get water? Which route did you take? What did you eat? Where did you sleep? Which route did we take? Well, our plan is to get to Cape Town eventually, so we bought a few Africa mission maps, put them up on the wall, got out a highlighter, and got marking. We had tons of routes. Our plan was to explore, get off the beaten track, and experience as many countries, cultures, and landscapes as we could. And we wanted to do so by avoiding those chaotic main roads, those red routes on the map as much as possible. Unfortunately, you can't always avoid the main roads, although some of them aren't that bad. In the Sudan, for example, the Chinese, in exchange for mining rights, had built this lovely, smooth road straight through the Sahara. Hardly any traffic, Chinese boat-built road, fantastic camping spots, and a fantastic, super strong tailwind. So strong that if you pulled your shirt like this, you went from a standstill to about 45 kilometers an hour with hardly any pedaling. Really bad if you're going from south to north, though. Once off the main road, it's a lot more interesting, but it's worthwhile to mention that those yellow and white roads on the map, they aren't exactly good tar or in good condition. Roads in Africa, pretty bad, and even more so in the wet season. But that's part of the appeal. If you want good roads, go cycling in France. If you really want to explore, I would recommend you head into those white patches on the map. Back in the day, these were purple, the Scramble for Africa days. A bit of help with a compass, maybe a good sense of direction, speaking to the locals, a bit of Swahili here and there. You can spend days cycling along fantastic single track from village to village, seeing some really amazing sights. It does backfire sometimes, and you may end up cycling stuff like this for a few days in 50-degree plus heat. You learn to practice sand writing pretty quickly. One question that does drive me mad is, how did you cycle across the water? And the quick response is on a boat, which prompts the reaction, isn't that cheating? Which does really deserve a slap around the ears. Seriously though, you can't cycle every last meter of the route. You may have to take a ferry to get across a river, jump into a little dugout canoe, into a truck. It's all part of the journey, and sometimes your backside does deserve a break. Water, pretty important to most people. And despite the fact that there's always a drought on the go somewhere, you won't struggle to find any, even in the Sahara. Places like Egypt, Sudan, you've got the Nile, pretty big river. And if you're far from that, the locals put out these massive big clay pots full of murky, brown, musty smelling water. You can drink it, it's for travelers, but if you're used to bottled water, it may take some getting used to. The further south you go, you'll see lots of these things. One of the really good things NGOs have done in Africa, tons and tons, hundreds upon hundreds of hand pumps. And when you see one of these, you're guaranteed fresh, ice-cold water, good enough to bottle and actually sell. I would suggest carrying water with you during the day, though, especially if it's hot and dry. You may go the whole day without seeing any, but then suddenly when you're starting to get a bit nervous looking for a campsite, you'd come across a river, good for a swim, although I would suggest treating this before you drink it. I, for one, cannot drink water all day. It's a bit bland. You're in luck. Africa has the most amazing beers, better than anything that SAB can produce. Really good for carbo loading, and if you don't like beer, something a bit more sweet, Coke and everything else sweet and sugary is available everywhere. And only in Africa, on a bicycle, is a Coke at 7 a.m., something to look forward to. You can't drink beer all day, unfortunately. Food in Africa, Lonely Planet, they say it's not going to tantalize the taste buds. Well, I tend to agree, but it's not that bad. Things like pap and rice are pretty much staples everywhere. It comes with chicken, beef, fish, maybe some goat, maybe some animal parts, you don't know what they are, deep fried, some potatoes that don't look like potatoes, fresh fruit, and mango is on sale everywhere. 10 euro cents for a bucket of them. You won't have space in your panniers. Some countries have their own special cuisine, fool, mixture of fava beans, some tomato, maybe some feta, a cup of oil to lubricate the veins. It's great for one meal. Every meal, it gets a bit much. I would suggest avoiding Western food. Although the thought of a burger or a pizza after a hard day in the saddle is a good idea, it won't be what you expect. Think a burger without the patty, without the bun, a pizza without cheese, and something else other than tomato on top of it. That's if you can actually get it. In most cases, it's actually on the menu just for show. So when you ask for it, hey, we don't have it. But there's food everywhere. Not good food. We never ate those grasshoppers, but the locals did, like crisps, smiling from ear to ear. Hey, white boy, would you like some? No, thanks. There was a guy across the road selling fool. I don't know which one was better. After a long day in the saddle, it helps to have a really good spot to sleep. And if you carry a tent, the options are pretty much endless. Outside of the cities and the towns, this just messed up my timing. We saw a lot of those, but I won't go into that. Cruise along when nobody's around, jump off the road, pitch your tent behind a bush or rock or behind a ridge of some sort, sit back, get the coffee on, make sure you have a really good view, maybe try out the 1 liter and a flannel shower, which you'll be doing a lot, and just really appreciate being there. Some countries, wild animals, bit of an issue. Botswana, Zimbabwe, we were cycling along looking for a campsite, and I stumbled onto an elephant having his afternoon snack. I was quite shocked, so I backpedaled pretty quickly, cycled another 20 kilometers, found a nice campsite, no game trails nearby, we thought we were safe. 2 o'clock in the morning, another elephant munching right next to our tent. It was pretty scary. Some places you can't choose your camp spot. This picture was 9 hours into a truck ride from hell. We were traveling through bandit country. We'd been told by the police to get onto the truck or else, so we listened. We went from 48 degrees down in the valley to 0 degrees up high. I was wearing all the clothes I had, and before you ask that white stuff on my shoulder, it was suntan cream. The road was so bad that the sunscreen bottle had actually broken in my pannier from the bumps. But not every night is like that. In most cases, you have a view like this, which makes it all pretty much worthwhile. And think yourself lucky that the next day you're going cycling and not to the office.